question and you're just going to boo when I say slavery was all over the world, which is a fact? Why are you booing a fact?
Because you're making light of...
No, I'm not.
You're making light of the enslavement of people that look like us. You can't make light of that. That ain't nothing you breeze over.
I haven't even finished the sentence. How am I making light of anything?
You started with some boo.
And what you saw there was the rapper T.I. do what so many others should have done with Candace Owens. Someone with zero authority and zero expertise in anything. And that's the shutdown. That's the way you do it. So many of the times with Candace Owens, people would allow her to just keep talking. Could never understand that. I don't understand what the Breakfast Club did. I'm confused. Why do you have this person on unchallenged? For what?
Just didn't know it. And economically speaking, of course, the conservative arguments make the most sense.
Does that bother you that people call you an Uncle Tom?
No, not at all.
Owens is the type of person that benefits from the technological age that we're in, that demands content, demands constant flow of content, and doesn't care what the value and doesn't care what the quality of the content is. She is perfect for the age that we live in. No one like her could survive prior to Twitter and Facebook and all these other jokers that we have pushing certain algorithms to piss people off. And usually in the service of somebody making money. I typically don't talk about people I can't stand, but this is kind of an interesting moment because it is a really great example of how our communications works, where you just flood the zone with nonsense and the zone accepts any nonsense you flood it with. Candace Owens has been that nonsense for years, making money off of anti-black commentary. That is what she is known for. And of course, the universe of media, particularly on the right, loved every second of it. Her firing is also a great example of how everybody's fine as long as you're anti-black. Everybody's good. They'll put you on, they'll amplify you. Everything's great. Nobody says anything. Then when you turn your attention and your stupidity to another group, then suddenly you get fired. So it's also a great example of how the freedom of speech debate works. Basically, the way it works is once you say something I don't like, now suddenly I don't believe in freedom of speech.
Candace Owens shows up. You have to understand how to specifically point out and understand COINTELPRO when you see it. That's just a voice that's created out of nowhere. That is I think the young people, Gen Z now, they call them industry plants. They just show up out of nowhere. Suddenly they're put into the limelight, put into the forefront, given a voice, and the only thing they have to say or think to tear down and destroy the black community.
Attorney Robert Patillo giving the perfect breakdown of how Owens's voice was amplified by the right for one reason and one reason only, and that was to trumpet anti-black talking points and anti-black demagoguery.
Candace Owens is no different than Sexy Red or Ice Spice. There's a creation out of nowhere, no known talent, no known ability to actually produce anything positive in the black community. Their only use is for the majority culture to destroy black communities, and that's all they are, the modern version of COINTELPRO industry plants that are used to tear down black communities.
Candace Owens sold out her own people for money. That's what she does. That's what her entire story is.
If it was applied, it would mean taking a look at the real problem that is happening, which is our culture, a celebration of perversity pitched to us as if it's diversity. It's not.
She's an avatar of white racist talking points who gleefully and energetically acted as a stand-in for racism against her own group. Never, ever trust anyone who hates the group that they're in, and it was all for money. Now, the anti-black avatar is trying some sort of redemption tour after being fired by Daily Wire.
Of Republican conservative grifters, individuals who are not real conservatives, who don't care about policy, who don't care about the people. What they care about is denouncing black people in order to make white conservatives comfortable and then for them to be able to make money off of.
Her brand has always been to say what racists would say, to shield her anti-black bigoted paymasters from having to say it themselves. That's what she was paid to do. Last night, Roland Martin put on a brilliant takedown, complete with the receipts of Owens doing what race-baiting grifters do best.
And I will say it again, you know that white supremacy and white nationalism is ranks nowhere near the top of the issues that are facing Black America. And the reason that you are bringing them up in this room is because it is attempt to make the election all about race as the Democrats.
Not in my case, Ms. Owens. I'm sorry.
Please
do not characterize my motive.
Mr.
Writer Michael Harriot wrote the perfect opening paragraph on Owens in The Guardian on April 2nd, 2024. As a provocateur, Candace Owens stands alone. The recently fired Daily Wire host built a reputation as one of the few Black voices in right-wing media by tossing Black culture and Black people under the conservative bus. She embraced Donald Trump's lawlessness while castigating Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, and Black victims of police brutality as thugs and criminals. For Owens, the January 6th insurrection was virtually nothing, while the Black Lives Matter movement is about Black anarchy. She told a congressional subcommittee that white supremacy and white nationalism is not a problem that is harming Black America. And that was always the mission with Owens. You notice her comments were always glued to anything that was really hard to message for the right, obvious examples of racism in society, of how Black men were treated in particular, and of course Black women, to go up against things like Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. She was always trying to be the perfect minstrel, blackface messenger, saying those white supremacist talking points, saying the things that Ben Shapiro and these other people wouldn't dare say. Even they wouldn't try to say some of this stuff. But she was so happy to step in for them, so happy to make that money, to be that voice, to say that, oh, these Black people have no idea what they're talking about, and there's no racism. Racism doesn't exist. That was her mission. That was her entire reason for existence on these platforms. The reason she was invited to a congressional hearing was to do exactly that, to sit there and say that racism didn't exist and white supremacy doesn't matter. None of these things matter. That's why she was there, and she knew that. Candace Owens knew exactly what she was doing, and she knows exactly what she's doing now in this fake, idiotic, dumbass tour. Nobody cares, Candace. Stop it. 99% of Black folks out there are living their lives. They don't care about what she says. But here's the thing to always remember about Owens. What she proves is that you can be famous, you can be wealthy, being stupid, saying incendiary things, because you're feeding the machine of what the technology really wants, which is controversy. It's what drives people to click a link. It's what drives people to hit that like button or make a donation. Facebook has perfected this. And that is why somebody as vacuous and empty and as stupid as her can arrive with no degree, no expertise, no nothing, just running your mouth. It works. And you see it not just with her. You see it with several other so-called media personalities as well. That's the true lesson of Candace Owens. That anyone that runs their mouth controversial, but particularly against a group that most of the people in the media would never protect, it works every single time. That's it. I'll be back soon. Once again, shout out to T.I.
Of people that look like us. You can't make light of that. That ain't nothing you breeze over.
I haven't even finished the sentence. How am I making light of anything?
You started with some bull.